Welcome back one last time on ACAC quarterfinal Tuesday. The Men's Basketball Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill, isn't quite done for the first day, as we have the marquee matchup for the local fans. The Augustana Vikings, playing host, will take on the Ambrose Lions, playing in their second conference championship after making it for the first time last year. I'm Josh Ryan, former volleyball player, now member of the Jim Pattison Broadcast Group, joined by Kira Lyons, alumni of both the Vikings and Huskies women's basketball programs, and a host of the Edmonton Stingers, among a plethora of other hosting jobs you hold in the Edmonton area.
I have a the mental side of the game is just as big as the physical side. and you have to stay focused, and sometimes that can be difficult, but like I said, it can be difficult on both sides. So both teams kind of have to weather the storm of the crazy atmosphere that is the Augustana gym.
And that gym is about to explode. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after the national anthem and the starting lineups for the Augustana Vikings.
And I would please rise to the practice of our national anthem.
And we're off. One more quarterfinal matchup for you here today between the Augustana Vikings and the Ambrose Lions. A packed house here, capacity crowd for the hometown team. Josh Ryan, Kira Lions, trying to be as unbiased as possible when we do our jobs here.
My best. Oh,
and first
and
touch,
everybody is so excited.
Yeah, first touch goes to the Vikings. We have Michael Stasiak, Nathan Bowie, Dane Filipenko, Spencer Marion, and Austin Brulot on the court for them. Starting for the Lions, we have number 21, Braden Daniel, who will go right to the hoop and score 2 points. He's joined by Sylvan Lombo, along with number 7, CK Phillip, number 15, Riley Cordwell, another veteran from last year, and number 10, Isaac Gray.
I was actually wondering if Dane Filipenko is related to the Filipenko on the women's Huskies playing in their first game in Nationals right now.
Austin Brulot just short on that attempt, and a lot of running in the early minute of the game here.
And after talking to the Ambrose leadership, I know that that's something they wanted to really dictate in this game, as they wanted to run, use their speed, transition a lot, and not allow Augustana to slow the game down a little bit. Augustana has a pretty balanced attack, especially when they slow things down. They got good shooters. They've got posts that have great offensive upside, but also pass the ball to each other and, you know, put it in and out quite well. So trying to get them out of a rhythm is definitely a priority.
And we've got a whistle down at the baseline. It's a 4-0 lead. Earlier we saw CK Phillip hit a fadeaway jumper. We're just 1 minute and 16 seconds into the opening quarter. Looking forward to certainly the first basket from the Vikings will get an explosion, as well as turnovers. Those often make the fans make some noise as well.
Well, and just like every game today, it's the first game of the tournament for these two teams as well, and you got to get some nerves out. You know, for a lot of them, it's their first appearance, and even if it's not, you're playing in front of a really big crowd, and
they're fired
emotions
up.
play a big part in it. So you got to get those nerves out and got to get back on defense. Oh my goodness, that was way too easy.
Easy 2 points for Linden after Michael Stasiak opened the scoring with a 3.
That 3 was nice that they hit, but you got to get back on D. Can't focus on that for too long. Oh,
a lot of contact there. Marion taking it in for 2 points. And it's a one possession game, I should say, favoring the Lions. Back again for CK Phillip, stolen by Marion.
Phillip getting beat up a little bit here. Marion, a physical player, not dirty, like even down there on the offensive end, you know, he's dropping his shoulder into him, and he's making his presence known for sure. But Phillip taking the wrong side of some contact from back-to-back plays there.
Some international flavor on the Lions.
International flavor. Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Riley Cordwell hailing from Queensland, Australia. And Rayshawn Scales, another member of the team from Spanaway, Washington. A scramble of arms there, and now the Vikings in transition. Bowie finding an open Marion, who will let it go. Nothing but net for the Vikings, and they have their first lead of the ball game.
Oh, and he was just giving it to Gray on that one. You see that? He hit that 3 and just yelled right in his face. This is going to be a competition. Holy, and that much emotion, and it's only been 2.5 minutes.
A great answer from the Lions. That's Sylvan Lombo, and he has a chance for a 3-point play here to give the Lions back their 1-point lead. So far, the Lions don't look like they're afraid of the atmosphere.
No, and I don't think that this team scares easy. Just the feeling, oh wow, what a pass.
Nice dish from Linden to Lombo, and it's 10-8 Lions. Another 3 for Marion, and it's another bucket that'll drop. He is fired up to start off this quarterfinal.
Well, you know what? When you're in your 5th year and you're hosting an ACAC tournament, it's going to fire you up. This is the last weekend that he's going to, whether they move on to nationals or not, that he is going to get to play in this gym. And I love seeing the emotion.
Stasi will take a seat into the game. Number 13, Elijah Schmulin, definitely will help on the defensive end. Lefty finger
nice.
roll is good.
Very Pascal Siakam-like.
I was going to say, he does have the physique for it.
He does, yeah, the length. He's probably
Schmooland.
played more years than Siakam has, though.
Probably a couple. Schmooland, he lays that in for 2. Vikings back up 13-12. Cordwell, he'll pull up for 3 and knock it down, and we've already had a few lead changes in the first quarter.
High scoring.
Marion way off the mark this time.
Bit of a heat check there.
That ended up in the hands of Gray. That's going to be a foul on the Vikings. Maybe as you were saying, sometimes you let emotions get the better of you. You can definitely tell this Vikings team is really fired up at the moment.
They are. You could tell from their starting 5 introductions that they were amped. And they should be, you know? Can't let it impact your play. You got to stay calm and confident and focused, but look at this crowd. You know, you're getting to play at home in a championship tournament. Not everybody gets to do that, so it's a cool opportunity.
No help on defense that time. It'll be an easy 2 points for number 8, Matt Francisco is into the game. Also in for the Vikings, number 11, Nicholas Carter. 17-13 the score. We're nearing the halfway mark of the opening quarter of this quarterfinal matchup between the Vikings and the Lions.
And one player that I've actually really come to enjoy watching on this Vikings team that might go a little bit unnoticed is Elijah Schmooland. Sorry if I'm butchering that.
Yeah,
but
it's all good.
You know, he plays good defense. He comes in and gives good minutes. He does good things. You know, I think that's one thing that Augustana has is they have a lot of guys that come off the bench or role players that just come in, know their role, and play smart. And winning teams, that's what they have. You know, teams that buy into the philosophy, understand what they need to do in their role for teams to be successful. And once you have that buy-in, it's much easier to win games.
And that's happening with the depth on both teams here. Number 14 in the game for the Vikings. That's Isaac Amsing who had that basket. Now Griffin Lorenz popping in for 2 points. And Isaac Gray draws the foul on Nicholas Harder. Also into the game for the Vikings. Yeah, Griffin Lorenz coming in for the Vikings. Also in for the Ambrose Lions is number 5, Lyndon Jackson. Both teams already utilizing a number of players off the bench. And as you said earlier in the third quarterfinal game, sometimes getting them a few early touches can make a difference for when they come in later in the game and you really need them.
Well, yeah, and you might have to rely on some of those guys later. You can't predict what's going to happen in the game, whether fouls. You know, I don't want to even say the word injuries, but it's a part of the game. And so if you can get everybody in to kind of get those not only first game jitters out, but first shift jitters out so that they get the blood pumping a little bit, get a little bit of confidence. So if they do have to go in for big minutes later, they've already seen the floor. And, you know, that big shock isn't going to happen in a big moment in the game.
Number 7, C.K. Phillip, he is sitting down right now for the Lions. Schmooland finding an open Lorenz, but it looks like he stepped on the end line, so that'll be a turnover. And Harder's bleeding, so he exits the game for Spencer Marion, who's back on.
I've only been here 2 games, and there's already been quite a bit of blood.
Yes, indeed.
It's usually a decent sign that it's good basketball.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart sometimes, the sport of basketball. That's going to be an Ambrose turnover.
I broke my nose like 30 seconds into the Can West final and bled all over the floor, and it was like the first minute of play. And I was like, all right, okay, welcome to the game.
Wouldn't be a championship game without
Kira bleeding everywhere. Yeah, probably.
Kira having some kind of war wound. 21-15 the score. Vikings trying to go inside for Schmooland. Good hands. And he also draws the foul there, it looks like.
See what I mean?
Number 5.
He does good things. He does good things. That was a tough play. That was an athletic play.
And he's seen that roll increase as well.
But it looks like he might be bleeding.
And that would make 2 in the first portion of the game here. And no call on Amsing coming down. That's going to be a basket for Schmulin.
I like the no call. I like the no call. Like, there was definitely contact there, but a little bit of an exaggeration, or maybe he was just a little bit off balance. I didn't think there was enough for a call, so I agree with that.
And Schmulin called for the foul there. That will send Cordwell to the line.
Oh, there's blood on the floor.
And I believe that was Schmulin pointing it out there.
Yeah, looks like there's some near the half line and some in the key in the Augustana offensive zone. There, see? It happens.
And a technical timeout here. We'll be right back on ACAC TV. You're watching the last quarterfinal of the day, and it's already bloody in the Augustana Gymnasium. The score is now 23-17 favoring the Ambrose Lions.
And that was Amsing that hit those free throws, and he actually shoots the highest percentage in the league of field goals at 62%.
Wow.
And I think he shoots like 50 from the three as well, so it's not like he's all inside.
And a little bit of size there results in another 2 points. A couple of big minutes here for Isaac Amsing. Bowie hasn't taken any field goal attempts here and draws some contact, last touch on the Lions. Clearly looking to go to the line there.
52% from the three, actually.
Still impressive. Mm-hmm. Still quite impressive.
Oh, it's insanely impressive.
Deep three from Stasiak. That's off the mark. And the Lions are continuing to dictate pace. They like running the ball here. Open look, passed up by Cordwell. He'll take the long two, and he'll knock it down. It's a 10-point game here.
It's a nice looking shot. Oh!
And it looks like that's going to be an offensive foul on Nathan Bowie.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact there, but I don't know. I'm unsure on that one. Because he went behind the back to almost avoid as much contact as there was, and I think he did a good job of selling it. You know, I don't want to take away the fact that there was a decent amount, but I think he sold that one a bit. Oh, nice spin. Nice.
Jump ball called as that was handed in for Amsing below the hoop. Matt Francisco into the game for the Lions, and so that'll be Augustana possession. Harder back in for Marion. 2.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, and Dave Drabiak looking relatively calm considering his team's down 10 points. Obviously a lot of time to play, letting them, I guess, feel out the crowd here.
Inside look, last touch is off Schmulin, so that'll be another turnover, and the Lions will have the ball. CK Phillip and Sylvan Lombo replace Francisco and Amsing.
It's funny, the last game, someone had to come out in the first couple of minutes with tissue in their nose because of a bloody nose, and same thing here with Harder. He's got the Kleenex up the nose to stop the bleeding.
Another Ambrose basket. It's now the largest lead of the game at 12. Schmuland driving, finding Stazuk in the corner. In and out on the 3. And Phillip will push the ball up here. CK Phillip loses the handle, and that'll be a steal for the Vikings. Schmulin can't finish at the rim.
It's a good take.
And they move back. Cordwell for 3, and he knocks it down. Big time basket from Riley Cordwell. It's now 32-17, and they have quieted down this Augustana crowd. Another turnover. Phillip draws contact on Schmulin, and Draviek will call for the timeout here. Probably a much needed one considering the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, they're not taking care of the ball very well at this time, and Ambrose is shooting the ball well, taking high percentage shots, and Augustana has yet to kind of find their rhythm, but it is very early.
That's true.
It is very, very early, but at the same time, you know, Augustana can't really let this lead extend by too much more. You got to start clawing back right away here.
And certainly you want to halt the momentum while you can use some timeouts. Might as well take that moment. Just chat with the guys, see how they're feeling. Obviously, the Lions have adjusted very well to the hostile environment. They're ready to play with a loud crowd. They're not afraid.
It hasn't really been that hostile yet. You know, it's pretty loud at the beginning.
Couple of
Marion
baskets,
hitting a couple
quick.
threes, but then for the most part, the Lions have controlled this game, so the crowd hasn't really shown its full potential in its hostility.
Indeed. Obviously, plenty of room for that to continue here. 32-17 the score, favoring the Lions, seeded 3rd in the South with a 13-8 record on the year. Among the other student athletes in attendance to watch, that includes the women's volleyball team. They had a very impressive campaign, did have a disappointing finish in terms of their goal by the end of the year, as they finished 4th at the conference championship. They were the top seed in the North Division with a 20-4 record, going undefeated in the second half, losing to the silver medalist Red Deer Queens in the semifinal game. And at the line is number 7, CK Phillip. A scoreboard update from U Sports. The Huskies in full control over the Ravens.
On the women's side, 72-47. I'm pretty invested in that, so I'll keep you updated even if you don't want to hear it. You're going to hear it.
Oh, absolutely. And after that, it's now 33-17. Oh, and that's a wild attempt, but a great play by Harder to get the ball, and he'll lay it in for 2 points.
Yeah, they got lucky with that one. That was a turnover waiting to happen.
And a 3-ball. Lombo knocks it down. Ambrose shooting at a very high clip to start out this ball game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see percentages at the end of this quarter. Oh, take care of the ball, boys.
Turnover, and it looks like number 5, Jackson, stepped out of bounds. Jackson, the leading scorer for the season for the Lions, 16.8 points per game.
Do something good here, Vikings. Get in the 20s and make a stop. Make this a little bit more interesting going into the second quarter.
Pull up from Lorenz is off the mark. Great rebound by Stasiak, and now CK Phillip comes away with it. Looks like they'll have the last attempt of the quarter as Marion fouls Jackson. Jackson hailing from Gary, Indiana. Previously played for the old Broncos. And because the Vikings are in the bonus, he will go to the line. And Lorenz exits the game. That's the son of former Augustana men's basketball coach Stacy Lorenz, who Kira and I both know him as a professor, but he coached back in the day in the early 2000s with the program. And his daughter Brandy briefly played with the Vikings program. Now Griffin continuing on the family tradition after initially going to the McEwen Griffin.
Brandy or Brady?
Oh, Brady. Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong.
It's close. She's
now out east for school. Bowie inside for Marion off glass.
Nice play.
He beats the buzzer, and that's, while it's only 2 points, that's important. They get within the inside 20 points, and they can now talk about things heading into the second quarter, obviously. 37-21. That's not an insignificant lead. That's a lot of points to give up in one quarter.
It is, but even just hitting that last hoop going into the second, just looking at the numbers, it's a little less daunting than 37-19. So that's not a small bucket.
The Ambrose Lions averaging 90.9 points per game on the season, so they've averaged a very high total, obviously. So a big start for them, shooting 67% rather from the field. Their season-long field goal percentage is only 47%. So pretty drastic difference in field goal percentage compared to the rest of their season. So do you think they're just exploiting matchups with the Vikings, or some of it is this is above average, they're going to come closer to their average later on in the game?
Probably come closer to their average, like shooting 67 from the field and 60 from the three is impressive. So most of the time it evens out. Every once in a while teams go on those crazy games where they just can't miss. But most of the time it tends to even itself out, and especially in a game like this where it's so emotional with the fans and first game of the tournament, sometimes it tends to swing really heavy one way at the beginning of these games, whether you're shooting really poorly, like we're seeing, or like that. I mean, Augustana's not shooting poorly at all, but the way Lethbridge kind of battled in the last game, or you shoot really well because you have these emotions and you hit your first couple shots and you just roll with that momentum. Those first shots that you take are really important usually when you're trying to balance out the emotion. But 67 and 60, I would have to think, if I was a betting woman, that would slow down. But the big one that sticks out to me is Augustana has 9 turnovers in that quarter. That's like a half. You want to have, for the most part, you want to have under 20 turnovers, closer to 15 if you can, and 9 in a quarter is not what you want. But that's also kind of good news because they're shooting well. So when they are getting looks, they're hitting shots. They're shooting 50 from the field, 42 from the three. They're just not getting enough looks because they're not controlling the ball.
And Ambrose started the quarter off with a turnover, now a miss from Marion, and they'll come back. Jackson trying to find C.K. Phillip. And now Sylvan Lombo handing it back off for Jackson. Now Ozzie Riley Cordwell for Jackson, pulling up, that's off the mark. Good pressure that time from the Vikings on defense, and Bowie will pull up from deep. That's in and out, rebounded by Jackson again.
And he's definitely not afraid of pulling those transition threes, and he's a good three-point shooter. I mean, not ideally the best shot that you want because you're struggling on offense a little bit, so you want to be taking high percentage shots to try and find your rhythm. But at the same time, he's a good shooter, so not my favorite shot in the world, but I don't hate it.
And it looks like they called Bowie for the foul there. That's his second foul of the game, and that is not good. He's the team's first team all-conference guard. And with him off the floor now, back in Dane Filipenko to play.
Yeah, he's a major controlling factor for the Augustana Vikings. And 2 in the first half was a little bit sketchy, and you'd want to make sure that you have him available down the stretch. But that's where depth comes into play. Augustana has some depth. They've got guys that can come in and play good minutes. So this is their chance to step in and really kind of weather the storm while Bowie has to sit out.
Filipenko draws contact as he goes to the rim, and he'll go to the line.
Good take.
Dane Filipenko formerly played at Grand Prairie College before coming to the Vikings, native rather of Edmonton, Alberta. Again, one of several guards that allows them to rotate through between him, Bowie, Austin Brulot. And even a guy like Josh Lawal hasn't gotten a lot of minutes this year, but he's a guy who's capable of coming in and scoring in small bunches. Sylvan Lombo underneath the hoop now for Jackson. Loses control of the ball, but gets it back, and nice control to lay it in off glass.
Wow. Put some good spin on that to give it a chance. And Augustana's really got to notice how much the Lions are jumping in passing lanes and take advantage of that. Throw in a pass fake or two. You know, get them to jump the lane, back cut them, make them pay for being so aggressive, and so far that's just not the case.
And an inside matchup for Marion against Jackson, and they utilize it. 2 points. It's now 41-25 favoring the Lions, as carried up court by number 21, Braden Daniel. Another member that was originally with the Red Deer College Kings. And an Ambrose turnover. Crowd starting to come alive a little bit again.
Filipenko trying to get his bench going a little bit. They've quieted down substantially as well, and they are very important in finding the emotion and the momentum. So, you know, he's trying to find that spark, create it.
Carter with the ball, and that's an unfortunate pass after Marion had gone down.
They're just hesitating a little bit. It seems like they see things, and then they hesitate a second, and then they throw it, and it's too late by the time that they throw it. And it's just not, their timing is just a little bit off. And I think the emotion in this game, in the what this tournament is having a little bit more of an impact than they'd like.
The Vikings just entering the arena here. Those of you who are watching the stream, looks like that's a blocking foul. Blocking foul on Brulot. And now Drabiak, who's been relatively calm this whole game, is incensed by the last call, saying that a similar play happened on the other end of the floor. And Jackson again going to work at the line. A fairly effective offensive player for the team, shooting under 80% for the season from the stripe. A chance to put his team up here by 18, and he'll do that. 7:24 remaining in the first half.
I think if you're the Vikings right now, getting it under 10 before the half would be a good goal.
Right.
Dwindling that lead a little bit. If it's single digits going into the half, it's less daunting than if it's, you know, even if it's 9 compared to 10. Just got to chip away. Take care of the ball, chip away. Go back to the basics. Box out, pass fake. Just be smart.
And Brulot goes end to end after no call on the one end from Jackson. Big 2 points for the fifth-year guard.
One good thing, you know, without trying to be too biased, again, talking solely about the Vikings. Oh!
What a jumper that time.
That was pretty to watch.
CK Phillip, nicely done, the long two. Back to an 18-point lead as Carter tries to go inside, and he will. He'll score 2 points.
But what I was saying is one thing with the Vikings is that they play such good defense that if they rely on that and go back to really focusing on getting stops, offense will come. You know, get your confidence from your defense and roll with that.
Into the game, Elijah Schmulin replacing Michael Stasiak, and multiple subs onto the floor for the Lions. So back in number 10, Isaac Gray, along with Amsing and Francisco. First free throw is wide. Make that 2 misses. See if the Vikings can capitalize with 6 minutes remaining in the half. 45-29, Ambrose on top. Brulot drives, doesn't get it to go, and it looks like that'll be a Vikings possession after the foul on number 8, Francisco. And that's one thing they didn't really do much of in the first quarter. Maybe getting to the line is a way to get that offense going.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, they're shooting really well, and most of the time, one of the best ways, shooting really well, speak of the devil, but getting to the line, always a great idea, not only to try and get your rhythm and get your offense going, but also getting guys in foul trouble. You know, you attack early, get some guys in foul trouble so that later on down the stretch, their defense can't be quite as effective because they've got that foul trouble on their mind later on. So anytime you can get to the line, obviously it's a good play.
Amsing drawing the foul there. He's a native of my hometown, Cochrane, Alberta. And again, Nathan Bowie being on the bench does hurt them, but nice minutes from Filipenko there, bringing some energy. And Amsing goes one of two.
Doing a great job stepping up too.
And he has the ball now. It's a 14-point game. Sazuk guarded very closely by Gray. And Marion will pull up for the jumper. That's off the mark. Nice touch from Sazuk, but they can't come away with the rebound. And Schmulin called for the blocking foul.
Oh. I'm not a huge fan of that call. I know that he was a little bit out of his position, but Ambrose, I'm not sure who it was called on, like who.
Cordwell, that was, I believe, freshman.
Like, he really dropped the shoulder and initiated, and that's what we're told to do. When you're attacking, is you want to initiate the contact so that you're in control. So if you do get fouled, you're able to finish the hoop and get to the line. He did a really great job of initiating there, but I don't think that Schmulin was really in a position to block it. He kind of went to the side out of his way to initiate that contact, and I would have thought that would have been a no call. But again, angles are different, and obviously the ref saw something different than I did.
Indeed, they did. That puts the Vikings in the bonus. That'll send Cordwell to the free throw line as we're nearing the end of the timeout here. Again, 46-32 the score. It was a pretty wide margin in coming out of the quarter, and so while the Vikings haven't been able to completely shut things down defensively, they have limited the Lions compared to the previous quarter. They now just have to start to get back in transition on the other side of things as well. Once Nathan Bowie is back in the game, I'm sure that will play a role from a speed perspective. And they got to get this crowd going. They have that advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. They got to go on a little bit of a run and get their fans into it, because momentum is gigantic in the game of basketball, and anybody that tells you momentum doesn't exist doesn't know what they're talking about.
Doesn't know nothing about sports.
Don't know nothing. I've actually heard people say that, though, that momentum isn't a thing. I'm like, what? Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, I would hazard a guess that those people haven't actually played sports themselves.
Yeah,
it might be a judgmental thing to say, but that would be my guess. And a jump ball called, so I believe that's Augustana possession. Nice job by Schmulin to get the ball there.
He does good things.
So now it's a 15-point game, and we'll see if the Vikings can, again, generate some momentum. Griffin Lorenz had a tough first quarter. He's coming in, and he is a guy.
A tough pass. I really like the vision. Oh. I thought that got tipped out. But I really like the idea. Tough pass to make. It probably would have worked a little bit better if he went underneath the baseline, behind the backboard, made that pass. But I like the thought behind it, just tough execution.
Guys slipping around there, and that's last touch black, so that'll be Augustana on the baseline as we near the halfway mark of the quarter. Griffin Lorenz.
Oh, goodness.
Good work by Brulot to keep possession of the ball, and he knocks down the fadeaway. A couple of big shots for number 7.
Nice
Inside
pass.
look for Amsing. Oh, and he just can't finish at the rim. What a break for the Vikings. We'll see if they take advantage of that. There was some good movement.
I think he had a little more time than he thought. That was a beautiful pass.
Lorenz is called for the travel. That's going to be a Vikings turnover. Lions have actually utilized a few guys off their bench, such as Francisco, for some steady minutes here. Fordwell, same look inside for Amsing, and the Vikings are caught napping there.
Yeah, that is too easy, especially because it's the second time in a row that he's just been all alone underneath. Got to have a bit better communication on the defensive end. When you're trying to close a gap like the Vikings are right now, you have to make every possession difficult. And when you're giving up easy hoops, it just makes it that much tougher.
Stasiak the basket, and now it looks like Brulot called for the push. And that will send the Lions back to the line here.
I didn't see it.
That's Isaac Gray at the line for the Lions. Gray, a third year from Calgary. And Nathan Bowie getting ready to go in. I'm not sure if he'll come in for Brulot potentially here after 2 fouls. Nice job, though, by Brulot to kind of help weather the storm a little bit. Sorry, that's not Nathan Bowie. That's number 8, in fact. Kalen Dubuque, second-year guard from Edmonton. Looks a lot like the actor Ty Sheridan from Ready Player One.
I haven't seen it.
How about the younger version of Cyclops in the last few X-Men movies?
Okay, I'll take a look at his face.
Yeah, I don't know. Got a Ty Sheridan vibe.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Francisco with the ball for the Lions. Guarded by Dubuque, and he'll drive. Forced away, and back on the court is Lyndon Jackson.
An interesting matchup there.
He pulls up for 3, and that matchup, I guess, works out for the Vikings.
Yeah, he's long. A good contest on that shot.
And it looks like we got a blocking foul on Gray. Or no, that's a blocking foul on Francisco, I should say.
Got bailed out a little bit there, I think. There was definitely contact, but he was going to the hoop a little bit erratic and off balance and got bailed out by that call a little bit.
Spencer Marion with the ball at the top of the key there. Trying to go off glass, doesn't go.
Oh, good board. Good board.
And nice job by Marion to hold the entire weight of Gray as he fell onto him.
Bench pressing him basically on his chest.
Elijah Schmoolin's now at the line, and Gray disagreeing with that call. He's having that chat right now. It's a 14-point game, a chance to cut into that deficit here at the line for Schmoolin.
Yeah, it's just got to chip away. And even though it's still a 13-point deficit, they're chipping away. They're slowly chipping away. Get it within 10 in the next 3 minutes, and they're looking good.
Schmoolin misses the second free throw, but it is Vikings ball on the baseline, or sideline, I should say. So a chance to add some more offense.
Was that an unsportsmanlike?
I think that was, yes.
Oh, I missed that.
Marion crowded, but gets through for another 2 points. It's an 11-point lead for the Lions.
And especially with the matchup that the Vikings have right now, Spencer Marion needs to go to work. You know, he's just overpowering down low, and I think he's had a pretty good offensive game so far, and I think they need to keep going to him because he's been effective.
And that lefty move from Schmoolin doesn't fall. Less than 2.5 to go now in the second quarter. Cordero passes up the 3. Gray drives, finds Cordwell inside, and a block from Schmulin. Last touch, Lions, and the Vikings have the ball on the sideline. And head coach Neil Nystrom is going to call a timeout. Not happy with the call, and that's the first sign of some momentum maybe coming out of the crowd, certainly in terms of noise.
Yeah, only down 11. We were down 17 at one point, I believe. So being down 11 with a few minutes to go, not in a terrible position, especially the way that they were playing for a stretch of that game, the amount of turnovers that they had, that they've been able to recover to where they're at right now. It's not looking bad for Augustana. And you do see glimpses of the volleyball team sitting front row there, trying to get some life, banging their drums and being super animated. So as soon as you can kind of feel life coming from the crowd and from the bench, Augustana, it definitely feels like the game is changing a little bit.
I'm glad the ACAC, they used to be very harsh in terms of policy on the use of anything making noise in the gym, and they definitely clarified the use that it has to be designed to make noise, so people can't bring in bottles with nickels or whatever. So it's nice to see at least they softened on the drums and allowed people to bring drums in.
I mean, you could argue that if you fill a water bottle with rocks, it is designed to make noise because you're not drinking the rocks.
That's true. You're not drinking the, well, unless you're, what's the
shouldn't be drinking the rocks.
What's that? There's some children's show character that eats rocks. I can't remember what it is.
I don't know.
Dubuque looking for contact, doesn't happen. And that's going to be Ambrose on the baseline.
As Lisa Tomias would say, you need to score, stop, score. That's exactly what Vikings need to do. They need to stop here.
CK Phillip looking for teammates there.
No easy shots. Everybody box out.
Tough fadeaway, and that will not go for the Lions. So better possession defensively. Lorenz in transition off the mark, and that's going to be an air ball. Lions with the ball on the baseline. 1:41 remaining in the half. And again, Vikings looking for a stop defensively. Lions looking to add to their lead. Jackson gets the roll. Lyndon Jackson, another 2 points.
It's got to meet him a little bit higher. He got too deep in the paint.
And Dubuque now holding the ball. No traditional point guards on the floor for the Vikings. That's one of the strengths they've had, is having multiple people handle the ball, but no point guards in right now. And Lorenz giving up the ball. Now a chance in transition. Gray for Jackson.
Wow.
Another 2 points. That's a 15-point lead now.
What a pass.
1 minute left to play. Nice job again from number 5, Jackson.
Take care of the ball. Get a score. Oh, and he is just being groped in there. And
the referee's recognizing that. Sylvan Lombo gets the foul call.
Yeah, an obvious size advantage for Schmulin down there. And who was it that got that foul? Lombo?
Yeah.
Doing his best to fight around and not allow him to get position, but just a little, I was going to say a little bit too much contact. There's a lot too much contact on that play. But he's battling, you know. It's tough when you get stuck underneath there with somebody who is 4 or 5 inches taller on that low post.
Schmulin misses the first free throw and the second. So a two missed opportunities there for points. Jackson, what a block from Nicholas Harder. And now Dubuque doesn't get the basket. It ends up in the hands of, it ends up in the hands of Lyndon Jackson now. Missed opportunity again on offense after a huge defensive play from Nicholas Harder. Cordwell, open look for Gray. That's good for 3. Huge triple for Isaac Gray. Schmulin inside for Harder. And he'll draw a foul.
All right, get into the 40s here. Just for the look of it. You know, we were talking about trying to get within 10, and they got so close there. And it kind of fell apart a little bit, but if you can hit a couple of these, or hit these free throws and get them in the 40s, it'll look less daunting.
Indeed, Nicholas Harder a second-year forward, made his debut with the team during their bronze medal run last year from Claresholm, Alberta. Has played a bigger role on this year's squad.
Well
and
done.
he does get the 2 free throws. Now if they can get a stop with 15 seconds remaining.
Yeah, don't foul. Good solid defense. Talk to each other. Get a stop.
Matt Francisco with the ball. Driving, open look for Amsing. Air ball, so a good last possession, but some work ahead of them for the Vikings. A 16-point deficit, which was what it was heading into the second quarter.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Vikings, but, job well done by Ambrose. They weathered the miniature comeback of the Vikings there in the second quarter and were able to extend their lead again. They're playing well. They're really making Augustana pay for their turnovers. They're shooting well. They came to play. They definitely came to play, and I think having Bowie back in the second half will definitely change the dynamic of the Vikings roster. But, they also had that lead when he was on the floor in the first quarter too. So Vikings need to make some adjustments. Definitely need to take care of the ball because you can't score if you're turning it over at the three-point line every second time you come down the floor. So definitely need to take care of the ball. They're shooting well still. I guess their shots have dropped off quite a bit, actually. Field goal percentage, they're shooting 45, three-point, 36. And Ambrose is shooting 53 from the field and 40 from beyond the arc. So not terrible. Ambrose shooting the ball well, and Augustana not shooting it terrible, not necessarily shooting great, but 15 turnovers in that half. That is difficult to catch a team or even find a way to get a lead when you have 15 turnovers. They have more than double the amount of turnovers that Ambrose has, and that is the problem right now. But 16 points, still have a full half. There's definitely lots of game left to be played, especially if they get on a little bit of a roll and get this crowd behind them. It is not by any stretch of the imagination out of reach.
And we'll see if they can turn that around in the second half. Till then, we'll take a short break on ACAC TV. You're watching coverage of the 2020 Men's Basketball Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill.
to support the defense. Because that thing is going on 45.
All right, let's audience participation.
We got to do this.
All right, so it's like the symbol. If you see the mass, you're going to roll the ball number, put your hands on your head. So you can reach your own either number, hands on your head. Come on, Mark, hands on your head, hands on your head. Oh, we need a little more. Come on, okay, all right, go. That is even in this game. On the road. Wait, one more time. This is going to roll even, hands on your head. This is going to roll on, hands on your head. Go ahead.
Take out four people and kind of and then we turn around and
We got one left.
it's one of those like I wish we had something to it had just been.
We're about to get underway in the Augustana Gymnasium for the second half of the final quarterfinal on Thursday. 57-41, the Ambrose Lions lead the host Augustana Vikings. You have a large crowd here that's been relatively quiet so far, but they're ready to explode once the moment arises. So will the Lions continue to be relatively dominant so far, 57 points in 2 quarters, and keep this gym silent, or will the Vikings finally gain a little bit of momentum, and then we'll have a real barn burner on our hands for the last 2 quarters? Josh Ryan joined by U of S and Vikings alumni Kira Lyons. And as you were saying, Kira, you talked about it already. The biggest thing is what the Vikings do with handling the ball.
Yeah, 15 turnovers for the Vikings in that half. That's a lot of turnovers. You're giving up a lot of possessions and chances to score. So limiting the amount that you're able to even take shots. So hopefully they can take care of the ball and make this a bit more interesting here in the third quarter. And Ambrose, they have 20 points off the bench. Their scoring is pretty evenly distributed. Their highest scorer in that half was Riley Cordwell, and he only had 11. There's a multitude of players with 9, a couple with 7. So it's a pretty balanced attack. Very similar with Augustana, but just way less possessions to try and to cut this lead because they just can't seem to take care of the ball.
Corner three for Riley Cordwell doesn't go, but CK Phillip, the rebound stolen by Nathan Bowie. Bowie was sidelined much of the last quarter due to having a couple of fouls. And Stasiak is off the mark. Lombo now running the rebound. Sylvan Lombo. And that's going to be another Lions turnover. And crowd's definitely come alive a little bit here.
And points off turnovers too. Ambrose has 15 points off turnovers, so they are making Augustana pay when they turn that ball over.
57-43 the score favoring the Vikings, or favoring the Lions, sorry. Filipenko, that's deflected by Cordwell, and now back come the Lions. CK Phillip hands it off. And that's another Lions turnover. That's going to go to Brulot, and an easy lay-in for him. Back to a 12-point game.
I'm glad that they came out firing because they definitely need to start this half with a bit of a different mentality than they did the first.
Cordwell guarded by Stasiak. Throwing in the pick. And a three coming from Gray off the mark, rebounded by Stasiak. First 2 minutes of fast-paced action and a little bit of momentum maybe for the Vikings. That three's off the mark.
Like I said, I really don't mind him taking those threes, but because they've had such a hard time scoring, you know, you got to find your rhythm a little bit, hit a couple shots later in the possession after people have touched it, just so that you can find your offense a little bit. That's an early shot to take when you're down 12 and having a hard time scoring.
But they get a break thanks to that turnover. Austin Brulot off the mark. Another rebound for the Vikings. Bowie lining up, again rebounded, and that's going to go off the Vikings. And just as you just said, they certainly aren't sharing the ball there, just firing away.
And that's one thing that I, from watching some of their games throughout the season is that they can move the ball really well. And the more touches you get and the higher percentage shots, like obviously that's the way you want to go. And I don't think that relying on threes at this time, especially early threes, is really the strategy you want to go for.
And that's the last touch, Lions. So another Ambrose turnover. They're giving the Vikings plenty of opportunities to find the rhythm.
And they got to take advantage. They're turning the ball over. You're getting lots of possessions. Get some points. Take some high percentage shots. Take advantage of them giving you the ball.
And Marion muscles his way in for 2 points.
And he is the answer to that because he had a great offensive first half. I think he had 10. He had a couple of threes, but they don't really have an answer for him because he's so physical down low. I think that, they need to look to him a little bit more right now.
Dane Filipenko with the ball for Augustana, and that's a turnover. Isaac Gray will lay it in for 2.
And good anticipation by Gray. It's a nice steal. Bad pass, but good steal.
Bowie.
Look in.
Tough shot.
Look in.
And that's
Marion was right there.
Deflected, and now CK Phillip. He's going to be called for the offensive foul.
Nice work by Filipenko to step in and take that charge.
And Phillip will take a seat. So Francisco, Amsing, and Jackson into the game. Cordwell, Lombo, and Phillip all take a seat. It's a 12-point game with 6:18 remaining in the quarter. Elijah Schmulin getting ready to come in for the Vikings. And Bowie again, we'll see if he slows things down here. Working off of a screen from Stasiak. Marion trying to muscle his way in. And he does indeed, 2 points.
What did I say? and I really think that, they have those 2 posts who are very mobile, athletic posts, and they work well together. Get the ball in, get them moving, get those guys involved.
Jackson looking for Amswing, and the Lions now have 4 turnovers here in the third quarter. 10-point game and a well-advised timeout from Coach Neil Nystrom. A little bit of energy coming from the Vikings nearing the halfway point, and while they missed a lot of shots, maybe some rhythm found. Certainly they're finding some offense with Spencer Marion.
Well, and so much energy comes from him too. So in the first quarter, when he was hitting those threes, he's such an energy creator. So much comes from him because he's such an emotional guy. You know, like he's smashing the three on his head and looking at the bench and yelling and really getting them involved. And so not only is he a great player to go to because they're high percentage shots and he's going to be successful down low, but you get him in the game, the energy of the bench goes up. All of a sudden, the fans are more into it. So not only is it a smart strategical play on the floor, but just in a sense of momentum and energy, like he just creates so much. You've got to keep him involved.
10-point deficit here, faced by the Vikings as the Lions looking to regroup. A bit of a shaky start, certainly for them here in the third quarter. They came in, they led 57-41 at the half. Vikings right now outscoring them 8-2 in the quarter.
Yeah, and if you're the Ambrose Lions, gotta take care of the ball. You know, they brought it within 11 late there in the second quarter, but this is the closest it's been in a while. And if you're the Lions right now, take care of the ball, play good sound defense, and try and get that momentum back, because you don't really want them to be able to feed off the crowd for too much longer.
Stasiak pulls up for three, and that's off the mark. And Francisco will end up with the rebound. And an inside look for Amsing, and he'll find it over top of Schmulins. Nice feed from Braden Daniel.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's one of those times, of course, you're always going to take it if they call a foul, but he had Stasiak right underneath the hoop for an easy lay-in and a very nice pass to get him the ball. And Stasiak right now only has 3, but I've seen him go off. He can be a tremendous shooter, so you hope that he kind of finds his rhythm at some point in this game too.
Indeed, I remember that happened earlier this semester when they were taking on the Wrestlers. No points through the first half, and then he went off in the third and fourth quarter, particularly in the fourth. And Harder will draw the foul. It looks like that will be on Daniel.
Ambrose right now outsized by quite a bit. You know, Augustana lineup is pretty long at the moment, so they really got to focus on hitting a body, making sure they're not getting those second chance opportunities, and obviously you want to box him out before he gets a chance to get that rebound, and instead of putting him on the line, you know, coming away with the ball. So they really got to focus on limiting the amount of chances and shots that Augustana is going to get.
Daniel trying to move the ball forward for Jackson. Gray now driving. Met at the rim by Marion.
Good rotation.
61-51 the score, Vikings in possession. Bowie pulls up, that's way short.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit, but it also didn't play very much in that first half, so it might take a little bit for him to get going, but you know, he is their first team all-star, the absolute floor general of this team. He'll find it.
And that ball's off of Jackson. That's going to be a Ambrose turnover. Bit of a lucky break there, obviously. Jackson able to come up with the steal on Schmulin, but dribbling out of bounds.
Well, I saw some of the Ambrose fans saying that the Augustana Vikings player kicked it. I'm not sure. It was a tough angle for us to see.
And Vikings turn the ball over. Back come the Lions with 4 minutes to go in the quarter. Francisco looking to hand the ball for Gray. He'll pull up for 3, way off the mark.
Wow, what a pass. Right into his hands over the defense. That was beautiful.
And Schmulin going down hard after the foul from Gray, and he'll go to the line. some fans in the building not liking that it's only 2 shots. I think they were looking maybe for an unsportsmanlike or something like that.
I feel like unsportsmanlike fouls get thrown around a little too often. Like I don't disagree with just the 2 shots. He was just trying to make sure he didn't make the play, and that's kind of how I grew up. That's what we were taught. If you're going to foul him on a layup, you got to foul him hard. I don't think that was unsportsmanlike. I think it was just competitive. I think, and that's kind of a hard line you got to balance. But to me, I thought that was the right call.
And a little bit of testiness between Isaac Gray and Nicholas Harder, as it's now a single-digit game.
And Harder gave him a bit of an extra shot there when he was on the floor. I'm not sure what led to that, but seemed a little bit uncalled for.
And I think it's a good move rather by Neil Nystrom, the head coach, getting Gray out of the game. He's clearly also a little bit testy, as is Harder in that situation. Maybe allow him to cool down, and after a couple of hard fouls from Gray, maybe that he just needs that few minutes.
Yeah, for sure, and it's a smart play. But I think I would be a little emotional and upset if someone took a swing at me like that too. Maybe taking a swing is a little bit harsh, but he gave him a smack.
Yeah. No, a smack. That's still too harsh, Kara. That's still harsh language.
Smack.
The score is now an 61-53, an 8-point lead for the Lions. And
nice pass.
Cut
wow.
there.
Oh.
Lots of contact, nothing called. And a great play from Brulot. And now Jackson with the ball. Shot clock winding down to 8. It looks like Stasiak and last touches off Jackson. Another Lions turnover, as this Vikings crowd is starting to come alive here late in the third quarter.
And just like I talked about before, is they got to get life from their defense. That's one thing. The Vikings can put a lot of pressure and make an offense feel very uncomfortable. And when you're struggling on the offensive end, you've got to get life from your defense. And I love seeing that it's starting to translate a little bit.
And I thought that foul was maybe going to Jackson. It's not. It's going to number 21, Braden Daniel. And while the Vikings, I would say, took most of the fouls in the first half, they haven't taken a foul yet here in the third. The Lions in the bonus.
Schmoolin's been to the line quite a bit tonight.
And last touch Vikings, Schmoolin's number of misses, but it's now a 7-point game. We have Matt Francisco and C.K. Phillip coming back into the game for the Lions. It looks like Daniel will exit. And Jackson as well. And a big defensive possession here. Lions in need of a basket to shift the momentum. Lombo trying to blow past Brulot. Amsing, and he's called for the foul. Or Harder, I should say, is called.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. There was a little bit extra contact, which is unfortunate because up until that point, it was a great defensive possession by Augustana. But the Lions moving the ball well, lots of off-ball movement, doing a good job trying to get a good shot, being patient.
And it's definitely a basket they needed after a couple of turnovers, simply working the ball, working their way towards getting to the free throw line. And Amsing hits them both, 9-point game. Bowie, Brulot, Harder, Schmooland, and Stasiak on the floor for Augustana. Brulot finding Bowie, open look.
That's the three you need. Those nice touches, get it in the paint, bring it out, find an open shooter with time. Those are the threes I like to see Bowie taking.
Tough bucket from Cordwell, getting inside and then fading away for a quick 2. 8-point game, 2 minutes to go. Bowie thought about shooting it. And a quick release from Brulot off the mark. Last touch, Black. That'll be Vikings on the baseline.
Oh, wow, they got lucky there.
And the ball comes away for the Lions. And they have numbers. CK Phillip handing it off for Cordwell. Quickly double team there. Now Phillip driving to the rim. Nice touch off glass there.
He gets a little bit of speed going. He's tough to stop because he is long.
Stasiak doesn't get the contact he wants. Last touch, Augustana. That will be Lions basketball, baseline. .130 remaining, 67-57, Lions on top. They have done a better job of taking care of the ball the last couple of minutes. Francisco trying to blow by Brulot, and he does. Smulin backing off there, and he had a little bit of room.
Nice take.
Bowie pulling up for three, knocks it down, and it's a 9-point game. And an offensive foul. It looks like maybe Lombo got him with an elbow. He's actually not disagreeing with the call at all.
And if he wouldn't have elbowed him, I think he probably would have got the foul call in his favor. It looks like he got him pretty good.
Yeah, Brulot went down pretty quick there.
At first I thought that it was going to be a foul on Brulot because he kind of cut him off at a strange angle.
Oh, and he's out of the game here. He's really hurting. So no sell job in that particular situation. He's out of the game for a little bit. Last minute of play. It's a 3-possession game. Vikings continuing to chip away here against the Lions.
Go at him. Go at him.
And no contact called there from the officials. Now Lions moving the ball up court. Francisco trying to run it. Maybe a mismatch here with Marion on defense. Marion goading him into making a move there. Nice pass inside for Ansing. Blocked. And that's going to be last touch, Augustana. So Lions on the sideline. 9 seconds left on the shot clock there.
This would be a big stop. Get the last shot of the possession, or of the quarter for the Vikings. If you're the Lions right now, you want to use this 9 seconds and get a good look.
It looks like that was also a warning given about the discussion with the coach there, Neil Nyson. Not sure exactly what was said. He seemed a little surprised when he got the warning. So that could change the dynamic. And that's going to be a Lions turnover. 21 seconds still on the clock here in the third quarter. And we'll see if it's going to be a play runner. They want Bowie to take the ball. They're letting the clock wind right down.
These situations, you usually wait until it gets to 10. Oh.
And the ball ends up in the hands of Harder. Lucky break for the Vikings. And at the buzzer, Cordwell almost. That ball almost goes in. That would have been something.
That would have been a silencer.
And instead, it's a 7-point deficit heading into the break. We'll be right back on ACAC TV. You're watching the Men's Basketball Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill. final quarter of basketball to play here on Thursday. Lions and Vikings. Vikings start with it, and a chance to get within 2 possessions of the upstart Lions, who had a great first quarter and are slowly seeing their lead walk away. Great rebound, though, Amsing, and now the Lions have an opportunity.
And that third quarter really balanced out the turnovers. Augustana taking care of the ball substantially better, only turning it over once in that quarter, where Ambrose 14 times now in the game, so they're pretty close to even.
Wide open 3 missed by Lombo, and a foul called on Filipenko, so that'll be on the baseline.
And points off turnovers obviously is a lot more balanced now too. Ambrose with 15 and Augustana with 14. But Ambrose still out-rebounding Augustana on both ends of the floor. They have 34 in total, 23 defensive rebounds, 11 O rebounds. And Augustana, 6 O rebounds, 17 with a total of 23. So they're getting out-rebounded. Ambrose is owning the glass a little bit, which is helping them hang on to their lead even through the turnovers.
Harder gets his own rebound, and it's a 5-point game. Lions on top as Braden Daniel tries to go to the hoop. Looking for Amsing, and that's deflected. Another Ambrose turnover. Stasiak, for 3. That ends up in the hands of Schmulent. Marion now. Oh, looking inside. That's a turnover. It's a 2-on-1 for the Lions. And Lombo will get the basket. 71-64. Ambrose leading as we are getting into the fourth quarter of play here at Augustana. And Marion will draw the foul. And that actually sent him to the line as well. Looks like, and that was actually on Braden Daniel, it looks like, who looks very confused out there about why he got the call.
And Marion with a game-high 20 points.
And just misses the first free throw. Vikings have had a few chances at the line here.
Yeah, not shooting a great percentage. Actually, not very good at all. 62% from the line tonight. 5 for 8 in the second, 5 for 8 in the third. Yeah, not shooting a great percentage from there, unfortunately, because I think that would be a big factor.
71-65 the score, favoring Augustana. And Ray doesn't quite get the bounce.
Good rebound.
Amsing, what an effort to get the ball for the Lions. Cordwell now for Lombo. Cordwell driving in, and he'll get the left-handed finish to go.
That was a nice finish. That was a tough position to be in to try and get that bucket.
Nice work from Nathan Bowie going right to the ring for 2.
The slow-mo long steps, looking like a miniature white Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And Harder gets through the trap. He'll run the ball for Schmulent.
Good call, good play.
And quick touch from Marion. It's now a 4-point deficit. They continue to chip away at this Lions lead, but a chance for the Lions now on offense. Sylvan Lombo for Ray, and he draws contact. It looks like that'll send him to the line. Yeah, and that's going to be on Nicholas Harder, the foul. Matt Francisco replacing Sylvan Lombo. And also coming back into the game, Lyndon Jackson, the 4th year from Gary, Indiana. He'll replace Cordwell.
And this Ambrose team still a pretty balanced offensive attack. We've got Phillip with 11, Cordwell with 13, Amsing with 13, Lyndon Jackson with 9, Isaac Gray with 8, Lombo with 7. So a lot of guys contributing to this Ambrose lead right now. A decently balanced attack.
75-69 after Gray misses those free throws. Bowie trying to bully his way in there, doesn't go. And now a chance.
Nice
Grace
pass.
finds Jackson, and that will go in for 2 points.
Great play. Oh.
And that will just be a turnover against the Vikings. 8-point game as C.K. Phillip comes back in for Amsing. A little bit of a smaller lineup on the floor now for the Lions.
And a decently long lineup for the Vikings right now.
And if they can get a stop, we'll see if they go to work on offense. But that stop is what needs to happen first.
And Marion came up to try and double, and he paid for that.
10-point game now.
Good recognition by the Lions on that play.
Looks like Francisco is called for the foul. And timeout called by the Vikings. We'll take a short timeout as well. It's back to a 10-point deficit. Real critical time here for the Vikings. You're watching on ACAC TV, the Men's Basketball Conference Championship. So 6:20 to go here in the fourth quarter. Vikings and Lions doing battle, and a good last couple minutes from the Lions has them back up by 10 points.
They've been doing a great job weathering the Viking storm because it kind of comes in surges. And for whatever reason, the Vikings kind of go away from what's been working. But the Ambrose Lions doing a really good job of decently keeping their lead. It hasn't been closer than I think 5, and every time it has,
yeah,
they've kind of
four was the
closest, and they've weathered it and been able to extend their lead again. So, good on them. That's not an easy thing to do, especially when the crowd's starting to get into it.
And an offensive foul called on Gray. He doesn't agree with the call. I guess when you get called for an offensive foul, you might not agree with the call.
When I think his argument is he's saying they're not giving me any space. They're all over my hands. I got to create space for myself because they're all over me.
Still a 10-point deficit. Vikings on offense with Brulot trying to. Oh, I don't know where he was going there. Cordwell a chance, and he'll find an open Lyndon Jackson. That's a long 2. That's wide. Bowie with the ball now for Augustana. Oh. That is a deep 3, and he knocks it down.
I mean, that was a pretty disappointed that he took that. Thankfully, he hit it.
And that 3's off the mark, hitting the top of the backboard. Bowie pulls up again and knocks it down again. It's back to a 4-point deficit. A couple of low percentage shots, but he sinks them easily. And it's now, with now less than 5 minutes to go, we'll see how the Lions respond.
Well, you know what? Prove me wrong. Shooter's got to shoot.
Nice move from Daniel on that 2 points.
Still not a huge fan of it. I mean, you hit him, so it's gigantic and very well done.
Nice look inside, though, for Schmuland. He lays it in for 2. That's one of the first times they've actually caught the Lions napping on defense. Matt Francisco driving. Off glass,
shot.
And he'll get it to go.
Good shot. used his body well, good balance, square to the rim. Nice play.
Oh, and a bad decision from Bowie. Harder not ready for the pass, but what a play from Brulot to come
Wow,
from
good
behind.
hustle. Great play. Oh no, that was really out of rhythm. He fumbled a little bit. I'm not sure what happened there, but that was really out of rhythm.
Big possession here for both teams. Lions on offense. And Jackson, nice
Big
touch,
bucket.
gets the roll.
Big bucket. The flex.
That is now an 8-point game. Jackson feeling it. Critical juncture here for the Vikings. Schmooland.
Nice play.
And a great effort from Marion to save the ball there, but Harder giving it right back. And Jackson laying it in. Is it back to a 10-point deficit? Drabiak is thinking about taking a timeout here.
Yeah, it'd probably be a good time for that.
Marion pulls up for 2.
Need a stop.
Big-
Need a stop.
Big defensive possession coming up for the Vikings here. 87-79, Lions in the lead. Cordwell for Jackson, who will drive. Oh, what a move to go off glass.
Oh. He put some nice spin on the ball, too.
Rebounded Harder. Missed again, rebounded by the Lions. And if you don't get a stop here, you might have to call it here for the Vikings, or at least call for a miracle. 2:25 and counting.
They need a stop. They need a score. They need a stop.
Francisco
Nice
finds
play.
Daniel, and it's now a 12-point game for the Lions.
Move the ball.
And smart play by Francisco, taking a lot of time off the clock there.
Yeah, the clock is definitely their friend at this point. Want to try and use as much as he can.
And he gets a roll.
He has been a game changer in this last 5 minutes. Everything has ran through him. He's making beautiful passes, going hard to the rim and finishing. He has been a huge factor in this Lions roster right now.
And a very dejected bunch of Vikings on the bench right now.
And he knows that he's a big part of it too. He's just chest bumping everybody. He's feeling it.
And a few loyal Lions supporters in the crowd as well. They're fired up about their team's second ever postseason appearance. And they're looking good. It is a 14-point game with, I believe, it's 2 minutes left on the clock. So less than 2 minutes, in fact.
And this Ambrose team, although they only have 1 5th year, they've got quite a few 4th years. 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple 3rd years, and I feel like that veteranness is doing them pretty well right now because they've been able to weather the surge of the Augustana offense because it's kind of come in waves. They haven't been able to be very consistent with it, but when it does come, it comes in a flurry. And every single time that they've been in attack mode, the Lions have been able to weather it, and they have an answer for it every time. They come down and make big plays and hit big shots in big moments. When you look back throughout the game, anytime that Augustana got some momentum, Ambrose had an answer, and that's experience, veteranness, and confidence, obviously, in their lineup. And I'm shocked that they've taken Francisco out.
Yeah, Lombo back into the game for Francisco as Elijah Schmooland lays it in for 2. Possibly the biggest defensive stop of the game, defensive possession of the game, I should say, for the Vikings. And quick on the shot clock there from the Lions.
Yeah, they just got to play confident right now. 1:17 and they're up 12. That's a pretty confident position to be in if you play smart. So if you have an open look early and you're feeling it and that's what you want, then go right ahead because you do have a little bit of cushion. but you have to be smart with it as well. You can't come down and take early shots every single time. That's just, you got to use the clock. Clock is your friend.
Austin Brulot at the line knocks down the first free throw to get within 11. Clock obviously is stopped. Now, how soon do they have to start fouling if they want to try to play that game?
Immediately. Try and go for a steal. And can't get the steal. Foul.
Cordwell driving. Wide open look for Phillip. That's in and out, rebounded by Marion. It's less than a minute to go, a 10-point game.
I'm surprised they didn't foul.
And a tough turnover for Marion.
Oh.
Phillip slams it home.
And that, to me, is the exclamation point on this game.
Bowie for Stasiak. He'll pull up for three, off the mark. And still no foul yet.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen at this point. To be honest, there's no point now. Let's finish out the game.
And Marion lays it in for two. Back to a 10-point game. And it's now 10 seconds. A disappointing result for the Vikings. And the Ambrose Lions pull off another upset. Two upsets to end the evening. The Ambrose Lions will go on to face the Nate Oots in the conference semifinals. And a disappointed capacity crowd with some light cheers.
Yeah, the only cheers coming from the 4 Ambrose fans.
There's a small group of very excited Ambrose Lions fans in the front row there. A couple of them I recognize because I know their dad from many years ago.
Yeah, an unfortunate loss for the Vikings, but well played by Ambrose. They really took advantage of the turnovers. They, like I said before, they weathered the storm, and they made big plays when they needed to. Down the stretch when they needed a basket, they got it, and they got it from a lot of different players. It wasn't like someone completely took over that game. They have 5 guys in double-digit scoring. Augustana also has 5, now that I look at it. But a balanced attack from Ambrose, and just the poise that they were able to show, like I said, with the surge of the Augustana attacks. They played a good game.
Yeah,
and Augustana just didn't really have what it took today.
And you can really point to that. You can point a lot of it to that first quarter. It's a 10-point game, but the first quarter was a 16-point deficit. They allowed 37 points in that first quarter.
Well, and it gets exhausting when you're always coming back. It was, at one point they were losing by 18 in the first, and then they got it within 4, and then it went back to 17, and then they got within 6, and then went back to 15. And playing a full game that way really takes its toll on you if you're Augustana, because that's an exhausting way to play. Always grinding back and then not quite able to get there, and then extending the lead again, and then grinding your way back again. Like, a tough way to play, and a pretty exhausting and disappointing way to lose.
Yeah, a tough one for the hometown crowd, but they'll have to rebound because they have an early game tomorrow, 3 o'clock. They'll play the top seed out of the South, the Lethbridge Kodiaks, and that certainly won't be an easy contest.
No, definitely not. A very different style. I know Ambrose likes to run. They like a high-speed game, but that is Lethbridge's wheelhouse as well. Augustana, the Lethbridge team, is a very fast-paced team. Augustana, it kind of contrasts a little bit, and I thought that they would bode better against the Lions with their more balanced attack and the Lions' transition. So they're going to face a similar paced team in Lethbridge tomorrow, and it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not
going to be easy. Quick turnaround with that too. So
a lot of it ultimately you can also point out to which team is going to recover from the disappointment of this night better. I mean, obviously the Lethbridge team had high hopes. They wanted to go compete for a national championship with a 20-1 record in the regular season to then lose in the first round. They have some young guys that who knows how they'll respond. Then on the flip side of it, you have the home team that, again, they wanted to play for a championship. You see the look on Spencer Marion's face right now is just emotions are starting to, take over. That's a tough pill to swallow. So can they bounce back and do a good job of preparing for this very good Kodiaks team tomorrow? We'll see.
And you know what? I don't know Spencer Marion, but seeing his face and how emotional he is, I know that feeling, of losing out on playing for something big in your last year. But he gave them a chance. He gave them a chance tonight. He had 27 points. He was doing his best to bring energy back to the bench and onto the floor, and he was working so hard, and he really did give them a shot tonight. So he should be proud of the way that he played because he showed up.
That is absolutely the case. And with that, I think we'll wrap things up. So really quickly before we wrap up, I'll get your predictions for tomorrow. So we have the 2 consolation semis. So first the Red Deer Kings and the Concordia Thunder, and then the second consolation semi, the Vikings and the Kodiaks. But the big matchup now, the 2 big matchups, we have Trojans and Huskies in the one semi, and then we have this upstart Lion squad versus the Oops. Out of those 2 semifinals, who do you see going to the final?
As much as I was impressed by how Ambrose handled themselves tonight, I take the Ooks. One thing that Ambrose did struggle with a little bit was the size of some of the Augustana posts, and Nate is not small. They are big and strong and athletic, and I think they are going to give Ambrose all, if not too much, tomorrow. But I think it's going to be a great game because both teams are very feisty, very competitive, and I'm very excited to see how they match up. But if I had to put my money on somebody, I'd probably put it on Nate. And then the Keanu and Sate matchup. I'm probably gonna have to say Sate too. That's gonna be
a tech school battle.
Yeah, that seems to be the case a lot in the ACAC.
Yeah, that's true.
It is. But yeah, I think I'd probably take Sate, but at the same time, like, Keanu's no pushover. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, and whoever ends up, could be kind of a coin flip. The final's going to be fantastic either way.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that and calling the games tomorrow as well with you, and hope all of you enjoyed our coverage this afternoon and evening, and look forward to watching the rest of the coverage over the course of the next 48 hours, I guess. We obviously have some medal games to look forward to on Saturday. So this has been Josh Ryan with Carolina. Got them mixed up, and a good way to end a late night here. We'll be back at Augustana tomorrow for more coverage on ACAC TV of the Men's Basketball 2020 ACAC Conference Championship, brought to you by Cargill.
It's like if they hit 4 more free throws and maybe have 1 or 2 better possessions in the first quarter. Bowie especially. It's funny, when you look at Bowie, people are like, what a game, what a gamer.